Welcome, J Green 302. This will be my second prepper video. My goal, and I think at least in a lot of the ones that I'm going to be putting out here, are from watching all the videos. When I find areas where it seems like things are not talked about or things are skipped, I'm trying to fill in some areas that are not talked about as much, give you guys some ideas to think about. I am by far the expert. The nice thing about YouTube is that you get to hear a lot of different ideas, and one idea can spark another idea, or somebody can bring up one idea and that will spark somebody else to say, well, what about this? And everybody goes, oh, we didn't think about that. Well, so I wanted to address something that I've noticed in, my God, most of the videos, not all, but most. Everybody sits down and they seem to look at my gun collection. Everybody's got 20,000 rounds of ammo. Everybody, likes to show off their AR and their guns and all that. That's fine. I can understand that. I want to talk about a couple of things that doesn't seem to be hit upon. Weapons reliability and training. I think we'll probably hit both, but I'll give you something to think about. And all I can do is basically give you what happened with me and what I learned and the results of that wisdom, and pass it along. When I solicited advice, a friend of mine had a very nice collection, suggested that if I were to get a handgun, get a Kimber. It's like the Cadillac of handguns. And his point was, if you reach for something and your life depends on it, is that really where you want to skimp? And he had a very good point. So, this is a Kimber Ultra Compact TLE2. Every whistle and bell. This is probably an $1,800 gun. It's got the Crimson Laser grip trace. Tritium night sights, 45 caliber, stainless steel. The idea with the stainless steel being non-corrosive, very forgiving. This weapon has been checked, by the way. It is cleared. There is no mag in. It's not enough to go buy a gun and go get ammo. Once a week, every week, I go to the range and we have a run and gun. Not a stand and shoot at paper. We have a run and gun. We're on mats. The timer goes off, and it's a lot like an IDPA, where we have to accurately hit targets on the move. We have to run. We have moving targets. Balloon night's really interesting. And I've been practicing for over a year, so I'm running 120 rounds every week, running and gunning with a gun, and it's timed. Well, 7 rounds, 8 if you put one in the mag. You'd be surprised at how quick 8 rounds disappears. You'll be very surprised at how quickly you can go through 3 or 4 clips. It's hard to have more than 3 or 4 clips readily available. God help you if you have a jam. This is a Cadillac, quote unquote. This has been very frustrating. It's a really nice gun, and eventually I am going to get this thing running very smooth. But during the competitions, the jams and the magazine changes were very restrictive, and I got really frustrated and disappointed. The gun scared me because it wasn't reliable. And I always go back to my original premise. This weapon, if not maintained exceptionally because of its tight tolerances, has a failure to eject, has a failure to feed. It probably needs the feed ramp widened and a couple other things, and it's a shame. But I guess my point here is that money doesn't buy reliability. Now, during my frustrations, I was talking to a friend of mine there, and he recommended something, and this is what he recommended. This is the XDM in 9mm. Wasn't really interested in 9mm, but because this has a 19-round clip, I thought it could solve the mag change problem, and I wanted something that was a little bit different as far as the grip and the length, and I started shooting with it. Well, the first thing that I did is I refused to clean it. I wanted to see how long the gun would go before it had a problem. And after, I think, a month and a half of shooting, I finally gave up the ghost and just went ahead and cleaned it because I can't stand to have the gun not maintained. 19 rounds. Accurate, flawlessly reliable. If I'm counting on something and bullets are flying, I guarantee you I'm grabbing this. The Kimber is going to be a backup gun until it proves its reliability to me. There's 2 points in all this. One, if you think you can shoot and you don't practice, you're kidding yourself. I thought I could shoot. It took me a year to become proficient with the draw, with the mag change, with the targeting, especially on the move. We've been required to sit, draw, and shoot, stand, run, gun, backwards, forwards. You'd be surprised what you don't know until you start trying it. And you'll be even more surprised at how long it takes to get it down. If you don't repeat the process again and again and again, when it comes down to really where it counts, when you need it, you have a second, maybe 2 seconds. All your decisions are going to have to be made, and your gun had better work. Thought I would mention buying the gun is not enough. You have to go and run it. You have to put the rounds through it. You have to know that you can trust it. One screw up, one feed jam at the wrong time, you're a dead man. You damn Skippy, I know what I'm grabbing. Second thought. I got a couple of these. You definitely, if nothing else, you're going to want to keep lube. And if you have a few guns and you're using just oil and you're not firing the gun, you might want to seriously think about putting a dab of grease on the rails, because this stuff actually evaporates. There's another little tip you might want to think about. A little either white lithium grease, or in my case I use a graphite based grease, something that's going to stay and keep that gun in capable firing condition even after storage. Might be good to think about, because you can have 50 guns in your house, but if you all watch what happened in Katrina, you're going to want to spread those weapons and ammunition around, and you're going to want to keep them in locations that are not going to be found by the U.S. military when they come to disarm you. So the grease tip is a good thing. Planning for disarming by the military is probably another good thing. Maintaining your weapons, obviously. But if I had to make a point here, is that unless you have gone through and done like I have and spent a year making sure that you're proficient, you're kidding yourself. You have to go and practice with your weapons. You have to know where they're good, what they do well, what that range is. When does that range start to become questionable. Because if you're hoarding your rounds and you're spraying at a distance that you're just not proficient at, what are you doing? Basics, mechanics, muscle memory. The military people will tell you they've been drilled in it and why it works. Thought that'd be a good tip. Little gun maintenance, little gun training, and understanding what your weapons are and how far you can trust them. Definitely worth it. I already know that people are going to bitch. Yes, I'll get the Kimber fixed. But it was an interesting learning. There's other guns, but I know which one I'll reach for. Do you know which one that you would rely on and bet your life on will work on the first shot every time, regardless of what you're doing? What's the point of a gun if you don't? Thought I'd just put that out there for everybody to think about. Otherwise, this is Jay Green 302. Hope you had something to think about on this one. Thanks for watching.